How are you?
I'm good.
Yay.
So, if those of you who don't know, this is Melissa Shalongo, lead trainer at Destin Yoga Academy. Thank you for joining us, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me and giving me this opportunity to share a little time and talk about teacher training.
All right. So, I wanted to ask you about teacher training. What sets Destin Yoga Academy apart from all the other teacher training?
That's a great question, Jess. While I cannot speak to other teacher training programs directly or specifically, what I'd like to offer is that no two training programs are alike. This is my baby. This is a product of my blood, my sweat, my tears, and I think what the instructors and trainers bring to any program is their experiences and what they value in a training program and what they want teachers to, qualities they want teachers to embody in this day and age. So I hope that it's a direct reflection of my values and what I find important in the modern yoga world today.
Absolutely. What are the important qualities do you think that incorporate yoga?
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I almost kind of feel like we don't need more yoga teachers. We need better yoga teachers. And so I'm really interested in raising the bar. I think when we're in the teaching role, there's an immense amount of responsibility there. And I think as a teacher, it's super important that we stay curious, that we stay students of yoga. So I really value that. I also value in teachers, a sincere desire to be of service, to help. I think far too many teachers just kind of go through the motions when they're teaching, and I think what sets great teachers apart is that real sincere desire to help
and to keep learning.
Yeah, and to keep learning. It's tough, there's the market is saturated. And so I think the cream will ultimately rise to the top. And I think when we approach our teaching from, a compassionate heart and a really curious mind, you really have an opportunity to transform people's lives.
Yeah, that leads me to wonder who's influenced you in your yoga journey.
I mean, for starters, my students, they are the reason why I'm here today. They inform everything I do. They help me be the best teacher I can be. Even though I'm guiding the class, I'm in that position of leadership during a class. I stay open to what I can learn from them, and that only makes me better. So my students, first and foremost, are probably my biggest teachers, and then Brahmanand Don Stapleton, who I received my training from, he and his wife Amba Stapleton at the Nosara Yoga Institute of Costa Rica. They changed my life. I really find their approach to yoga, it just really, really resonated with me, and that's who I try to emulate every time I step into a teaching role, and which is a really experiential practice. I'm simply a guide. My student is the authority on their body. No moment is different. Every moment is different. Just because a student did something one day doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be able to do it the next day. And so we've got to be able to put the authority back in the students. So his approach really is something that has carried through in my teaching, and it also shows up in my training, where the authority is in the student.
I love that.
Thank you.
So with this teacher training program, what do you feel the most common question that you receive about teacher training? What's the most common question people ask you?
I think a lot of students or prospective trainees or students come to me with, what if I'm not good enough? What if I can't do this and I can't do that? Or I've got these limitations in my body. And what I always say to those folks who are curious about our training is that there are no prerequisites. To begin anything, you have to start where you are. And whatever limitations you might think that you have are only going to serve you in that process, because you're going to be able to teach from that place, from that unique understanding of whatever it is that you think, is lacking or isn't, of service to your practice. It actually is. That's going to be your gift. You can turn that into a place of authority to teach from. And, I ask that students just have a really open mind, a true desire to learn, to stay curious, and a willingness to do the work. So those would be my prerequisites. It's not anything to do with your yoga practice. I think me putting arbitrary guidelines on what, where you need to be in your practice,
right.
it doesn't really serve the journey. What's the saying? Like, the teacher appears when the student is ready, and the student only knows when they're ready. It's not when I say you're ready after you've practiced for 2 years.
I only practiced for 2 months before I decided to go for teacher training.
And I'd much rather have someone like you who just wants to get in there and learn they want to soak it up. That desire is ripe, it's real, and they just want to dive in and learn everything they can. Those are the students that I want to have with that true desire. So regardless of what you might think is hindering, I would offer that it's probably not a hindrance. It's probably going to be a gift in the end.
Awesome. That's great. All right, I'll wrap this up.
Okay.
What would you like someone who is contemplating, who's right on the edge of thinking about signing up for your yoga teacher training program to know?
I would want them to know that all the expectations that they have around it,
all the questions, all the
it is a mystery. We're embarking on it together. So what you think it's going to be, it's not. It's going to be better. It's going to.
It is.
But I've never met a teacher who regretted the decision. I really haven't, and it's such a personal journey, and everyone comes to it for different reasons. And again, only that student knows what those reasons are. So if it's something that's been calling to you, and if it's something that just resonates, in your gut and in your heart, then
you just got to do it.
Then it's not going to go away, right?
It's not.
That little voice in the back of your head is just going to get louder. But I would say, do your due diligence. You want to align yourself with a program that's going to speak to your values. So do that work and find out, and feel free to reach out to me and dig deeper into what I've got going on up here. Because that's important, right? Every teacher is different, so align yourself with someone who's fundamentally on the same page.
Perfect.
Anything you would share, Jess, as a teacher who's already gone through that training and who's now working in this market?
It is hands down one of the best decisions of my life. It is always a personal journey, even being a teacher. I've been teaching, for 6 years now? Which seems like just yesterday, because I'm still such a student. But being able to bring even curious minds, people that have never practiced yoga before, and introducing them and having them walk out the door and transforming their day, not even their life, just a day. It's a beautiful feeling. So I never regret the money, any part of the sacrifice.
And it is, right? It's a big investment. Time,
Absolutely.
energy, resource-wise.
It is.
So it's not a decision to take lightly. But
No, never regret it. And I haven't met anybody that has.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you,
Thank you so
for
much.
joining us.
You bet. You bet.
Bye.